All right, so we should be recording right now. Awesome, you see how the green is up there. Okay, so this lesson that we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about your independent research projects, your next independent research project. And in order to do that, we're going to look back at some of the things that we did on our first independent research project. I wanted to give you some feedback. That's what today's lesson is about. Feedback on your IRP presentations. So, let's do this. It looks like some of the stuff got left over from yesterday, so I'm going to quick erase that. So let's look right here. When we talk about our IRP #1 presentations, here is the ratings that we came up with. Or rather, this is the total number of students who earned proficient, total number of students who earned basic, below basic, and advanced. So if you look, most kids scored in the proficient and the advanced range, which was awesome. We had 21 kids in proficient and 22 kids in advanced. Awesome, awesome. We had about 4 kids in basic, but then we had 11 in below basic. Not that grades are everything, because they're not. What I want you to do is think about how you did on your last independent research project. I want all of you to think about it, whether you earned an advanced, a basic, below basic, or proficient. Remember, our goal is kind of to always be in this range, and most of us were in that range, which is awesome. But it doesn't matter where you fell. There's always room for improvement, and that's what we're going to talk about today. You may recall we did a quiz where it wasn't really a quiz, it was more like a reflection. I asked you to take a piece of pink paper and fold it into 4 squares. Do you remember that? Kind of, a little bit? Okay, because it was a long time ago that we did this. Some groups did this, some groups didn't. I asked you to take a piece of pink paper, fold it into 4 squares, and in each of the 4 squares, I asked you a series of questions. Okay, so the first square, I asked you to recall the 2 words from the project description. The 2 words that you circled on the project description for your Prezi. And when I asked students to write them down, no one got the answer correct. Most people got 1 of the 2 words, but nobody got both of the words. Do you remember what they are, Justin? You're very close. You're very close. Emma? Creative and fun, you're very close. Anybody else want to try one more guess? If you think about it, presentations, what do they need to be? Think about it. Brayden. That's a very good guess. One more guess, Suman. Okay. The actual answers were, the correct answers rather, were organized and entertaining. Almost everybody got organized, got that answer. And in fact, when we look back on all of our independent research projects, guess what? They were all, for the most part, very well organized. You guys got that down pat. So do you remember how I said nobody wrote down the word entertaining? Everybody forgot that it was supposed to be entertaining. And that is the area that we're going to focus on for our next independent research project. You guys know how to organize stuff very, very well. It's the entertainment piece of it where you can shine with your creativity. So the next question on your quiz, I asked you to think about your audience and what age they were. Everybody got that right. Who was your audience? Us. And how old are you for the most part? About 10 or 11 years old. You guys are about 10 or 11. Okay? So 10 or 11 years old. And the next question I asked you to answer was this one. When you think about things that entertain you, books, movies, games, lessons, television shows, what is most entertaining to you? And here is what most people wrote. These were the words most commonly used to describe books, lessons, presentations, and movies that you find entertaining. The number 1 answer, humor. The number 2 answer, action. And then very close following behind it, You liked things that were exciting, interactive, fast-paced, things with cool pictures. You also said you like cool graphics, first person, not too long, not too short, twists and turns. Now, I also asked you to think about the things that you were bored by. And this is what you guys came up with. Most common answer, things that are plain, that are long, tiring. And I was talking about books, movies, lessons, presentations, what bothers you, what bores you. Things that are confusing, a flat storyline, things that are not funny, annoying, too much information, pointless, slow, lectures, purposeless. That one came up kind of a lot in different ways, meaning the lesson has no purpose, or the presentation has no purpose, or there's no point to it. Things that are unorganized, bad acting in movies. You guys, a lot of kids wrote about actors that can't act. Things that are too serious, somebody wrote. Now, let's think about this for a minute. What does this mean? Let's go back to this section right here. These were the things that you found entertaining. Now, either in games, books, movies, whatever, presentations. Justin, you with me? So, think back to your presentation. Recall your presentation in your head. Now, recall the other presentations that you saw. Were they humorous? Were they interactive? Were they filled with action? Were they fast-paced? Was there a lot of excitement to them? For the most part, the answer is what? Call out. Say it like you mean it.
No!
Okay. No, they weren't. Let's just call a spade, which is another way of saying be really honest. Tell it like it is. No, they weren't. And that's okay, because this is our point where we're going to grow. Now, I want you to think about how you could reimagine your presentation or the next presentation. This is your task. I would like for you to think about what we find entertaining. What do we find entertaining? Well, we reviewed up here. These are the things that we find entertaining. How could we create a new presentation for our next IRP? The only thing that I'm going to tell you is that your presentation needs to be 3 minutes or less, and that you need to use some sort of new technology or application, such as WeVideo or Prezi, infographics. By the way, infographics, that's what this is. All of these things up here that I use, those are all examples of it. This graph that I made, that was made in infographics. I'm going to show you how to use that on a different day. Same with Notely. Notely is like Pinterest. I'm going to show that to you. You can, and by the way, you can look up all of these things if you want to on your own. And then Zuburst I used to show you some of your vocabulary. Yes? No? Okay. I was probably absent that day. Zuburst is actually an interactive pop-up bookmaker. So your criteria for your next project is that it needs to be 3 minutes or less, and it needs to use new technology or application. I would like for you to think about how you could do a presentation that is all of these things. Can you figure out a way to make it interactive? How could you make a presentation interactive? How could you make it fast-paced? How could you have cool pictures? How can you make it not too long, not too short, first person, cool graphics, excitement? What can you do? Think about it. Go back to your seats now and jot down some ideas on your dry erase board. Jacob, can you do me a favor, hon? Can you press the stop button up there?